Hello and happy Mother's Day to all of you beautiful mothers and caregivers and all those who stand in the place and assistance to mothers and for mothers. Happy Mother's Day to you. What a beautiful day. The sun's shining and it's just the wind is blowing just perfectly and it's a beautiful day. Beautiful day today. Anyway, happy Mother's Day. I'm just coming on just to talk about a little bit on how grateful and thankful um, that I am of my mother, who is no longer on this earth, but just the upbringing and the care and love that she put into myself and my siblings, and just how she just showed her appreciation for us as children, and that did include discipline. Very rarely coming from a mom, but we knew um, we knew what it was, whether it was a stare, whether it was a switch or whatever it was. We understood, and we are grateful to this day for the love that my mom had shown to us and so many other people. So many other people. My mom was a mom that was extended out to others, and the role that God had her play in so many lives of young mothers and in terms of instruction as far as teaching young mothers how to be affectionate with their children as far as uh, how to uh, discipline them, not calling them bad names or quick to anger towards the children, but to be more loving and caring and understanding how to walk away and need be. My mother was an extended mother, if I can say, and a bonus mother to a lot of our, different, family members and friends. And when I say that, just never overstepping her role as a mother and knowing that our friends and everybody else had mothers because, of course, their mothers were our mothers as well, even though we would respectfully call them by their last names and things like that as we grew up. But I just want to say, I appreciate my mother so, so much. I appreciate all my aunts that served a vital role in our lives on how to grow up, how to approach situation, even in disagreement. Not a thing of yelling. I've never witnessed my mother yelling with her brothers and sisters. I've never witnessed any of that type of stuff growing up, which is right now it's a turn of a century almost. I could say, um, from where things are from back then to where things are now. But nonetheless, I really appreciate my mom and all of my aunts, um, and those who have passed away that paid, like I said, played a vital role in my upbringing and in my siblings' upbringing, and just all of my cousins. And they're now moms and dads, but moms and really, really good moms. And just you can see where, in many cases, a lot of them have taken after their mothers, and in terms of being beautiful, loving caregivers, showing affection and telling their children that they love them, and correcting the behaviors that need to be corrected. Because I am going to say it's in some cases they're different. It's different. Parenting is a little bit different. Um, and I'm not going to say that it's a wrong way of parenting. In some cases, it is, because over the years, in the last years that I have, been in the role that I have, um, in terms of work is concerned, I've met a lot of people. I met a lot of mothers that really needed a lot of help and that could have benefited from the old school parenting with the respect of learning how to just the cooking, the cleaning, the listening. And I'm not saying that all old school parenting was perfect, but I'm saying in terms of just setting a boundary or setting the foundation of, to be able to give that child a launching pad as they get older, and what to expect out of life, and to know that everything is not going to be given to you because you ask for it, but you had to go out and get a work. I know, and growing up, and I think it was 14 years old, I wanted a job because my brother and my sister went out and got a job, and we were employed by the city of Detroit, and I never forget I was a police cadet, and it was just I had my little money, and I got that little first little check. It was only $62. I never forget it. For 2 weeks. I was, what? But $62 I didn't have, and it was just exciting to know that I had this money. I can go to the mall and go buy something. And it was just, and then, my parents, and I have to include my dad in this. It was like, well, the $62, you need to save some of that. So, it was more than what I got as, what do you call that? As every week we got an allowance, and we got extra if we did extra stuff like wash the car, um, do extra chores, do something just extra, anything. We were allowed to get a little bit so we can go to the movie theater or go roller skating, doing different things, but we had to earn it. It wasn't necessarily given to us unless, as we grew older and we knew that it was something that, hey, daddy, can I had to say, well, daddy, I wash your car. You want your car washed? Or anything. I washed the porch off, and just different things that we had to do that wasn't expected for us to do because we already had our list of choice to do anyway. So I just say to the mothers who are out here and teaching their children the right from wrong and being that caring and loving, attentive mother that children need, not necessarily the friendship of your child, because the friendship they can find with friends, but in terms of the mother and that protective role that you play over your child, and the line and the boundaries that are drawn to have effective relationships as they move on, as they, when I say move on, just grow up and mature, they can have an even balance of what it is and what to expect out of relationships. Now, not every house is the same, and I don't expect to see the same because, just growing up, it was different. It was different from my house to my cousin's house. But the best parts I can say is that when we went over any of our auntie houses, and we was just playing outside or anything, we can go in, and if there was food, there was food that we can partake in. There was never a no that we couldn't. You can always come to our house, and if my mom is prepared, she always made extra. And so it was a loving environment. It was a place of where you can find comfort. It was a place that you said, "Oh, if I'm going over here to Miss Such and Such house, I know that I'm able to go in here, have good conversation, and just sit down and relax." If it was a glass of water, or if we made some Kool-Aid or anything like that, my mother would. And if you were hungry, she didn't make something, she'll go in and do a little something. And so I miss that. I miss that. And I have a lot of my young mentees who call me their second mom, and I love them to pieces. And I gladly serve in that role. Absolutely, I have been serving in that role for over 20 something years. And so just to see them now as young, well, mothers, and seeing how they're raising their kids, and the phone calls that I get. Well, Miss Katrina, do you think I am able to do this? What do you think of this? Because I don't want it to be this. I thought about this, but actually thinking out and having enough, courage or know-how to be able to call someone else to say, "Is this right? you know um is this, can I do it this way?" Especially if they're dealing with maybe a child that is incorrigible, or a child that's struggling right now in their preteens or their teens. You have an opportunity to have, someone that you're able to call, but you just don't do it all by yourself when you're under stressful situations. Because we know that stressful situations and dealing and going off half cocked can have um, uh, terrible outcomes to it. And I've dealt with that on the other end through children's services, and watching how mothers have gone just a little bit too far to discipline their kid that would maybe talk back or didn't listen or something like that. What are other alternatives? But I must say that over the years, I've had an opportunity to really, really look at and be around some really great moms. Um, I just off the eve of my nephew's son's death here, April 3rd, and his birthday was May 3rd. You know, the reason why I haven't put up a video is because I just was feeling some sort of way. You know, the connection that I had, and I always tell his mom, I said, "You had him, you had David, but I think David was my child, but God used you to bring him here." And I loved him with so much. I loved him so much. And even to this very moment, he has blessed my life, and he's left me with so many beautiful memories of what it was to be called mom and to be considered as a mom to him and to help him in his life as he excelled, as he struggled. And just having that in my life just meant so much to me. And I always say, God knows. And, you know, I had a friend, I mentioned this before on one of my podcasts, where I never forget, she said, Katrina, you got to understand the miracles seen and unseen. We thank God for them both, the miracles seen and unseen. And I understand that more today than I did back then, but I understood it, but I understand it even more this day. Um, but also, I want to dedicate just love and just prayers to those mothers that have lost children. I look at um, my nephew's son's mom, and I love her to pieces, and you know she's struggling with the grief. And I just had another cousin just lost her daughter, and I don't know what it's like to be without a child, and losing a child that you've birthed and seen grow, and just where things are. Because I think oftentimes we believe that we're supposed to go. I mean, the parents are supposed to go before the children, the natural order of things. But then life happens, you know. But nonetheless, you know, we look at that person's life and celebrate that person's life. And as a good mom, you could say, you know what, I poured in everything to my child. And in this case, this mom, my cousin, she poured everything into her children. And she loves the children, and we love them to pieces. And even with my nephew's son, I always call him nephew son, but just being able to pour in love, me and my husband, and just saying, hey, here's a way over here to be able to look at it, and to approach education, and to approach life, and to approach your savings, and how to spend money versus money coming in, and what to do with all of that. And so just being able to be a part of life lessons, because I must say that even the aunties, cousins, the godmothers, the grandmothers, the grandma moms, and the nanas, and church mamas, and all of us play a role, a vital role in the upbringing of children. And I always say, because I always speak out of this, you know, the struggling mom, because that's who I saw my mother help growing up, and the struggling senior, you know, seniors that have gotten old, kids have moved on, pretty much forgot about their kids. I've seen my mother step in as their children to help these seniors get it either into nursing homes or someplace that will provide 24-hour care for them. I saw that. I was there. I witnessed. I volunteered at these different, what it was called back then, convalescent homes or nursing homes, as they're known now. But just seeing that foundation that my mother was working on, but also training me up on, you know, to be able to be a compassionate person when needed, being able to be a caregiver when needed, being able to answer the call when you have a mother struggling with their child, or with with the father of the child, and being able to lend encouraging words because you got it. And I always say to parents, because you're struggling doesn't mean it's the end, but find the strength in it. And it's hard now. It's hard to find the strength in anything if you're feeling like you're being chastised, or if you're feeling like you're being in a bad situation that compromises your child's either livelihood or upbringing. But look at the lesson, because I always say, God didn't bring you this far to leave you. But what is it that you can do? Because oftentimes you cannot, no, you cannot change a person. Bottom line, you cannot change a person. A person is who they want to be until they want to change themselves, especially if it's in, distasteful types of parenting or distasteful communication or the lack thereof, because they're suffering from some type of situation, maybe low self confidence or self esteem, and they find it that they, these are types of things and situations that I've actually, been a part of with regards to, when I say that in terms of sort of counseling and encouraging young mothers that it's going to be okay, and I always say what another person means for bad, it's going to turn out for your good and for the greater, for the child. You just have to continue doing what you do and do it best. Okay? If you become the disciplinarian, be that person. Stay steady. Stay steady, because children need correction. All children need correction. Okay? And you shouldn't feel bad or sorrowful for it. That's part of the role. Believe in the Bible. The Bible tells you, train up a child. Okay? And the Quran, different places, they speak on children, especially in Proverbs, and it tells you to, spare the rod and all of those types of things. Those are tools. I don't know what your spiritual awareness is, or whatever you find, but I say if God has given it to you, He gave it to you to protect it, to love it, and to understand it, to do right by it, to feed it. And I'm not saying the child, but I'm saying, and well, I am, but I'm not calling it it just to be calling it. I'm saying He's telling you, the Most High is allowing you to be that mother. He gave you full responsibility of being that mother, you know. But I always say, if you need a little help, don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone or text message or anything, whatever you need help with. And for the mothers that are struggling a little bit with dealing with behavior problems, or maybe it's autism or something that you're dealing with and you become overwhelmed, you got to reach out. You got to talk it out. We got to find ways, creatively find ways together, put our heads together. Because I say, God hasn't blessed you just to be blessing you. You're blessed to be able to have an opportunity to raise some beautiful, great children. You really do. But you have to be consistent, even in the bad storms. You have to be consistent with loving, disciplinary, with your disciplinary measures. Don't go overboard. Talk to your children. Be humble. Be loving. Be a listener. Be a good communicator. Listen to what your child is saying to you. You may not agree, but listen. You can also be empathetic. That's a big one. You know, um, be purposeful in your instructions, if that makes sense. Be purposeful. Um, I'd say, I have a God. How many godchildren do I have? I have one, two, three, four, five. I'm about a god. Yeah, godparents of about 5 kids. You know, and appreciate my role always. But I always told my God, mothers, you are the first. I can do what I can do to help, but they also have a father. And if that father is absolutely 100% not involved, you can always call on us to be able to step up. But the role of a godparent is crucial. That's in case something happens to you, or the father or anybody else, you entrusting us to be able to raise your children. And so that's a vital role. That's an important role. And I take my role serious. And I have stepped up in my role plenty of times. We actually have six grand. God, baby. Well, grown. They almost, a couple of them are grown now. But, I'm just saying to you, happy Mother's Day. Enjoy. And Mother's Day, of course, we know is every single day. but today is a special day for you. And I hope each person that's listening to this had an opportunity to relax and to laugh and love on your children, on your grandbabies, and just being able to show them that you are that person that supports them, that you will be there for them, and they just should know that. For every foster care mom that is listening to this and foster caregivers, love on those children, regardless if they're coming and they have these things that they have come with these labels and things. Love that person. Don't become so strong that you're not able to listen. These kids, um, and most likely in their situation, are not at fault of why they're there, but they should be able to have some type of structure in their life that's going to benefit them. So when they grow up, they're able to turn back and say to you, thank you so very much. Thank you for stepping in where my mom or father or family members couldn't. Thank you so much. And I love you. And they show you that they love you through the life they live, whether they can give back to you in any form, but to show you that your upbringing, or I mean, their upbringing in your home was one that that was nurtured, that was that was uh, uh, together with regards to schedules, the discipline, and the yeses and the nos, and the explaining of the why you say this or why you telling me no, being able to effectively explain yourself. All these things matter. But most importantly, in the year 2022, it is important to be able to put in the structure, the time that you eat, the time that you go to bed, the time that you do homework, the time that you rise, what's expected when you come after school, or if you're going to a sports, what's expected to continue to stay on that. Not because not because you are a person um, that is this great athlete, but the great athlete child needs to be able to have structure as well, and they need to obey the rules, you know, because that makes them a better adult. That makes them a better team member. That makes them a better team member in the family, you know. So whether you birthed a child or you didn't birth a child or children, and you're there and you're serving in the role in which the God has you to serve in, do it to the best of your ability. But also do, if you can do it in conjunction with the mother and the father, that will be even better for the child. You know, one thing that I always saw my mom do was always encourage all of our friends that came in that house. And I can tell you that every friend that came in that house has sat at our table and ate. Every friend that I ever brought to that house that stayed and was truly a friend partaked of my mom's either cooking, advice, a love, a hug, everything. And that's the way that I say that's the way that works back, that worked best for us. Um, and I admire mothers. I really do. I admire the ones that get it together. For those that are on drugs, that is going through this fight of trying to get off drugs, I'm wishing better for those that are the narcissistic type of mothers that think that's all about them, and now that they can party and do the things that they want to do, and disregard the children. No, you got to change that, because you don't get to go back to next week. You don't get to go back a year from now. But your children need you as they grow. What are their stories going to be as they grow older? What's going to happen? What did you imprint on their brains? What are their what stories are they going to have? They're going to tell. Excuse me. You got to talk. You got to talk about it. You got to look at your behavior as it pertains to your children. What are you imprinting on their little minds or their teenage minds? My mother, she started out like this, but I was in the system and I was able to come back, and she's been the best mother ever. Is that going to be the happy ending to the story? Or is your child going to continue on and say, you know what? I appreciate my mom. I love my mom. But right now, this is where we are. You know, you can also author that story with your child or children. You still can get it right. At the sound of my voice, you can still get it right. But you got to do away with your selfish behavior to be able to say, you know what? My children are worth it. God sought me out to have these children. hey, he trusted me, and now I am going to give my child the best that I have of myself. You know, I really appreciated in watching the Keisha Cole story with her mom. I think it was Frankie, and just how Frankie she fought. She wanted to be in her children's life, and I really looked at the woman that she was. And when she wasn't using, she was the best mom. And you can see the smiles, you can see the joys. But when she was using, she was still a good person, that I saw that the TV's portrayed. But I can only just think about if each one of the kids said, "But what if my mom didn't use?" And she was just that mom. We loved her, and I love the fact that they loved their mother through her drug use, through her non-drug use, and they loved her as a mom, and they got to know her better. Once she came back into their life, I think she was out of their life for a while. Was raised by different foster moms, but nonetheless, they had someone to step in. They had second mothers, sometimes third mothers, and aunts and uncles, and people that they can call. So, will your children be able to do that? Or will you step up to be able to be the best mom that you know that you can be? If you don't know it now, get with some people that encourage in a parenting program, people that can show you techniques. It's a Mother's Day, it's a happy Mother's Day. And next year, when you join into and you're able to be around your children and you're able to say, you know what? I apologize and hope it comes before next Mother's Day, but I wasn't the best mom. But now I have an opportunity to be in your life, and I would love for you to forgive me. But if you can't forgive me right now, let's work towards forgiveness. But I want to work towards a good relationship with my children. There's nothing wrong with being a humble mom and apologizing if you messed up. Because I tell you, I've seen so many hundreds of children that's been in these different situations. And hey, the mothers came back and they were humble. And them some of the best relationships. They've gone on. They're grandmothers now. And some of those mothers that weren't the best moms have become some of the best grandmothers. You get me? Because they got it right. They came back and they got it right. It's okay. But I don't know how much time it is that's allowed to any of us. But I tell you what, if you have the opportunity to get it right now, get it right now. That makes sense. I love all my family and friends. I tell you that, it's something else. For all the mothers that are grieving on this day because you've lost a child, God bless you. God gives you strength, gives you peace over time. And just that I pray and hope that the memories of your child that is sort of it can sum up like I had a Muslim friend of mine tell me, you give peppermints at the funerals of a lot of Muslim people because it reminds you of the long taste that a peppermint leaves in your mouth. That's it's comparable to the memories of your child. Let the peppermint, the long taste be like a memory with your child. So I think it's something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Then again, happy Sunday and happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers, church mamas, um, all the mothers that that were my teachers that are still currently, in our lives that we see at different events. Thank you so much. Thank you to all my aunts, heavenly, that ones that have passed on for all of their teaching, all of their good loving and laughs and food and everything. With that being said, thank you so very much. I wish and bless everyone that's in that's rearing children and doing the best that they can. And if you're doing the best that you can, just pray and ask God to take you the rest of the way because your journey does not stop with just whatever it is. Just keep your head held high, reach out if you need, and know that there are people, and God is going to put people in your place that can come and assist. With that being said, I love you all. Peace and blessings. Have a great Mother's Day. Bye.